In the last week, S&P 500 repeated the pattern that was seen in the last week. And this pattern repetition is very important and is very significant because this is going to bring more bullish movement in the market. So after the formation of the first hourly candle on Monday on February 3rd, it was quite clear that S&P 500 most likely is going to repeat the pattern that was seen in the previous week. And this was my pre-market update before the open of the stock market on February 3rd on Monday. And here I have mentioned that the 6006 will come into the picture, no doubt about that. Irrespective of any open, there was heavy gap down open, but the 6006 will come into the picture, right? And just like last Monday, it will act as resistance, but will allow more bullish movement to the zone. And if the S&P 500 closes above this resistance mark, in that case, the next day, Tuesday, S&P 500 will be in a position to test the heavy resistance just like what happened on last Tuesday, means the last week's Tuesday. This Tuesday, that was January 28th. So in that case, it will again move in a manner that it will test the heavy resistance and then it will further confirm that the pattern is going to be repeated. And then on February 4th, Tuesday, in my pre-market update is given at least 1 or 2 hours before the open of the stock market. I informed my Patreon community members that the S&P 500 will repeat the pattern seen on last Monday and Tuesday, and in this manner we can expect the pattern to be repeated for the rest of the days too, means until Friday. So pattern repetition was there in the picture and it was predicted on time. Now comes one more important point, that is the bullish. But before I tell you the bullish, you need to understand that there was heavy intraday fall on Friday. There was a sudden fall, very sudden fall on Friday. So one of the reasons for this fall was the pattern repetition, because the last Friday on 31st of January, there was a heavy fall. Okay, S&P 500 failed and then there was an intraday heavy fall. So one of the reason was there. Second reason was the 6100 resistance. It failed to sustain at 6100. It came down. But this sudden fall, very sudden fall, okay, this was because of pure manipulation. And this manipulation, it is seen after a long time. Okay, for last many weeks, okay, or a few months, we have not seen this kind of manipulation. So in this important update on Friday, I mentioned this to my Patreon community members that this is an absolutely pure case of manipulation because of this sudden jolt in the market for no good reason. Okay, although the news channels, websites, etc., everyone was saying that the consumer sentiments data, etc., but the thing is that the market never considers this data as such. So this news or that news, that was just baseless because this was the pure case of manipulation. That's it. Okay. And that is why I mentioned to my Patreon community members that I will recommend you to not to look into any such news. And whatever was mentioned in the pre-market analysis has not changed and will not change. The question is that what have I mentioned in the pre-market analysis on Friday? I simply mentioned that 604x 6100, okay, these two levels. If the S&P 500 sustains above 6100, more bullish movement to the zone, okay, to the expected peak, that the zone. And if it remains below 6100, okay, at the same time Dow Jones also, okay, gives up, in that case it will be coming down to the 604x with a possibility of a breach to 603x and then a recovery from 603x to 604x and above. So in this manner, the movement from Monday to Friday was seen as expected and as predicted on the daily basis. The daily, these the updates which I have given to my Patreon community members every day from Monday through Friday. But guys, whatever is going to happen or whatever will happen, I am going to discuss that in detail in this S&P 500 weekly technical analysis, and I will tell you that if there will be bullish movement, then to what level, what will be that level, and if it remains, if it gets the rejection, then what will happen in the bearish side, what can happen or what will happen, everything in detail in this S&P 500 weekly technical analysis. So guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you are looking for these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones every day from Monday through Friday, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. Now guys, I am going to discuss the agenda of this S&P 500 weekly technical analysis, and here I will tell you that what I am going to cover and how I am going to cover this. Okay. So, but guys, before that, you need to understand that all of these three sections of the agenda are interrelated, are interconnected. So, when I say that I am going to discuss the probable movement in the last point of the agenda, then I have already covered 30 to 40% of the probable movement in the first and the second point of the agenda, because I discussed the candles and the patterns. Okay, and that is again very, very important, right? So that is why it is recommended that you should watch all of these three sections in order to understand what is going to happen in the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq and in a manner to the entire market in the next week. So the first point of the agenda is the S&P 500 technical analysis on the weekly chart. Weekly chart means the long-term picture. Long-term picture is good because the market is heavily bullish, and it is actually the weekly chart which is supporting heavy bullish movement in the market. So I will show you through the technicals, candles and everything that why and how we are anticipating a bullish movement in the market. The second point of the agenda is the S&P 500 technical analysis on the daily chart. So daily chart, you can see that the pattern was repeated, okay, and now there is a probability. See, there is no confirmation that the pattern will be repeated for the third time, no, but there are chances that at least on Monday, okay, Monday and Tuesday we can see the pattern to be repeated again, but again it will be subjective. Okay, so I will discuss that here in the second point of the agenda and in the third point of the agenda. Third and the last point of the agenda is the probable movement of the SP500 from February 10th, that is Monday, through February 14th, that will be Friday. So what is going to happen and how that will happen, bullish, bearish movement, rejections, okay, etc. That I will discuss in this last point of the agenda. So now guys, before I discuss the first point of the agenda, the weekly chart, let me add a disclaimer to this S&P 500 weekly technical analysis, that this SP500 analysis is purely technical in nature. Through this analysis, I will give you the movement, the probable movement, that what can happen in the bullish side, what can happen in the bearish side, and this will happen based on the levels, the numbers and the change in the technicals. And because I do not know your trading style, your trading knowledge and other things, that is why whatever profit and losses will happen, those profit and losses are all yours. Now guys, I am going to discuss the weekly chart. This is the weekly chart. Okay, the first point of the agenda. Weekly chart means one candle represents 1 week, not 1 day or 1 hour. One candle means 1 week. So before I discuss the candle, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you are looking for these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 every day from Monday through Friday, every day, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. Now let's discuss the last weekly candle. So if you notice that the closing of the candle is again seen above the moving average. Okay, so the problem that was seen in the week of January 6th, that problem is not seen, okay, in last 4 weeks, because the closing is constantly seen above the moving average. The problem will happen only when there comes 2 consecutive closings below the moving average. And if you have subscribed to my YouTube channel for last many days, weeks, months, years, then I always emphasize on 2 consecutive closings, not 1 but 2. Okay, whether it's the level or the zone or the moving average, whatever it is, 2 consecutive closings. Okay, so in this case there was just 1 closing, not the second closing. Okay, so that is why this the bearishness through this candle failed. and a heavy bullish movement as was expected for this week to be seen, and there was that kind of bullish movement, heavy bullish movement. Okay, so this heavy bullish movement was not a surprise because this was expected. Anyways, so this is the last bullish candle. Closing is above the moving average, and the closing of this candle is below the closing of this the previous candle. However, the closing is still above the moving average and above the open, and also above the closing and the open of the last two candles. So considering all of these factors, okay, this is a special condition for a heavy bullish movement, and is means it is rarely seen in this manner, very rare, like once in many months or so. Okay, you will notice that this kind of scenario is seen. Okay, and this becomes more important because recently there was a heavy bearish candle and the closing was below the moving average, and then the next candle we have seen was heavy bullish candle closed above the moving average. So that is why this last candle will be seen as heavy bullish candle and is indicating heavy bullish movement. Now, heavy bullish movement in a manner that on Monday we can anticipate either a gap up open on Monday, or irrespective of any open, an initial or intraday bullish movement on Monday. Okay, this is just one thing. Number two, by the end of the Friday there will be heavy probability of seeing a green candle. Green means the closing of the candle is expected to be above the closing of this last candle, means above 6026 by next Friday. Okay, that is expected. So these two things, okay, gap up or irrespective of any open and initial or intraday bullish movement, and the second thing is that heavy probability of seeing a green candle or a good green candle. Now, why I am not confirming the 100% that there will be 100% a good or heavy green candle? Because on Wednesday, the inflation data will be released, and on Tuesday, the Fed chairman is going to testify. These two events are very big events. Okay, so these two events can make the market deviate from its current course and can trigger a little change in the technicals. Okay, that is why, but still there will be heavy probability of seeing a closing above 6026 by next Friday. Next Friday will be February 14th. And also there is one more thing. Even if there comes any fall, then also that fall will be limited and also recoverable. Limited and recoverable. Okay, so this is clear. Now let's analyze the last weekly candle of the Dow Jones. Okay, and if you are watching this my analysis for the very first time, then you need to understand that I always consider the Dow Jones, because Dow Jones is the prime index of the US stock market and is also a benchmark for many other global stock markets. That is why I use the Dow Jones just to confirm that whatever we are expecting to happen in the S&P 500 will happen for sure or not. Okay, so Dow Jones will confirm that. Now, in case of the Dow Jones, you can notice, okay, the almost the same thing. Okay, this was there, and then closings, last closing. Okay, so Dow Jones is not that much bullish. It is still bullish. Dow Jones is still bullish, no doubt about that. Closing is above the moving average. Okay, closing is above the open. Okay, and closing, open and closing are inside the body of the previous candle. It is still bullish, but it is not heavily bullish. Not heavily bullish means that a gap up open is not confirmed through the Dow Jones, but yes, initial or intraday bullish movement can happen. Okay, so that's not a problem. Initial or intraday bullish movement. And other than that, even if there comes any fall, that fall will be recoverable. Okay, so this is what the candle of the Dow Jones is signifying. So now the candle, we have discussed the candle and candle of the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 has confirmed an initial or intraday bullish movement, and also by Friday most likely there will be a green candle. If the market survives Wednesday, then definitely very heavy probability that by Friday a closing will be seen above 6026. Okay, and before that it will be Tuesday, and all of these are factors. Now Let's analyze the technical indicators. Technically, the problem is still there, no relief. Okay, problem and the blessing, again the same thing that I've discussed in the previous S&P 500 weekly technical analysis. Problem and the blessing. S&P 500 is bullish through the Bollinger Bands, bullish through the moving averages, clear fan out in the moving averages, bullish through the Ichimoku cloud. Okay, fine, perfect. Now comes the problem and the blessing. Problem, two problems, not one but now two. Okay, the divergence is still there in the MACD of the S&P 500. Okay, and it's still trading bearish. So S&P 500 is bearish through the MACD. S&P 500 is bullish through the stochastic RSI. Okay, so overall the S&P 500 is still 80% bullish on the weekly chart. 80% bullish on the weekly chart. Okay, clear? Now, okay, I will discuss the problem later, but first let me cover the technicals of the Dow Jones. Technicals of the Dow Jones, almost the same thing, clear fan out in the moving averages. Dow Jones is bullish through the Bollinger Bands, moving averages and Ichimoku cloud. Then comes the MACD is still bearish, stochastic RSI is bullish. So again, Dow Jones is also 80% bullish through the technicals on the weekly chart. Now let's discuss the problem and the blessing. Problem is again the same, it is bearish. This means that a sudden fall means what we have seen on Friday. Okay, but Friday it was manipulation, it was not, so that manipulation will not be counted or considered as a sudden fall. That was manipulation, but a sudden fall in the market, okay, can means the fear of seeing sudden fall will still be there in the market. Now comes blessing. Now blessing is again there in the picture because the divergence is still heavy. Okay, and unless this divergence is covered or unless there comes a convergence, and the convergence can come only and only if there comes a green candle. Okay, if there comes no green candle, then the divergence will remain heavy and the market will remain in a condition, technically it will remain in a condition to give a bullish candle. A bullish closing must be there so that this divergence, okay, this the negative bearish effect of the divergence can be compensated. Now one more thing, the stochastic RSI is showing weakness. This means that if there comes a little green candle, just a little green candle on the weekly chart by Friday, there comes a little green candle, then there will be chances that stochastic RSI can give a bearish crossover. MACD is already bearish, and if the stochastic RSI gives a bearish crossover, then the market will, then everything will change to bearish. Okay. Now in the Dow Jones MACD, okay, is okay, fine, there is no heavy divergence, nothing, it is trading bearish, fine. So the fear of seeing sudden fall or heavy fall, sudden and heavy fall will still be there in the market because the MACD is still trading bearish. This is why even though it is 80% bullish, the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 are 80% bullish on the weekly chart, but still there is a problem. Okay, that problem, reason of the problem is the MACD. But whatever will happen or whatever is going to happen, I will keep you posted through these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones every day from Monday through Friday if you are my Patreon community member. And if you are not, then I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. You can follow that link and you can join my Patreon community and you are welcome. So guys, before I discuss the daily chart, let me share this important information with you, that these are the programs that I offer. Okay, the 2 stock market hacks, 4 stock market hacks, 6 stock market hacks plus modified technicals, 8 stock market hacks plus modified technicals. Okay, and when I say the stock market hacks, then the accuracy is very close to 100%. Okay, and these hacks works almost 100% of the times. Through these hacks, you can predict a gap up open or a gap down open. Okay, and initial means what will happen in the next hour, what will happen in the second half, what will happen the next day after open. Okay, whether there will be a green candle or a red candle, through these hacks you can predict. Okay, and this one, the 6 hacks and the 8 hacks, it comes with the modified technicals. So I'm using modified technicals. That is why I am able to predict the movement even before it is seen, the change, the fall, or the bullish movement. Okay, so I share the modified technical indicators along with these the hacks. These are the options strategies, and the premium calculator. Everything about the options, okay, I discuss in this program. And if you want to learn everything that is there in these programs, then you can opt for this particular program. This particular program covers whatever is mentioned in these programs. And one more thing, guys, these programs are delivered one-on-one basis only, just me and you in the meeting and no one else. So guys, you can open these programs and you can learn more about the terms and conditions and how the programs, okay, the delivery mode and the number of sessions, fees, etc., everything. Okay, and I've given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. And when you follow that link, then you will see that this is my Patreon page, this is my Patreon profile, and this is the shop section, and you will find all of the programs in the shop section. Now guys, I am going to discuss the second point of the agenda, and this is the daily chart. So I will do the S&P 500 technical analysis on the daily chart here. Okay, so guys, before that, so far if you have liked this video, then hit like, and I will consider this as an appreciation. Now daily chart means one candle represents one day, not 1 week or 1 hour. One candle means one day. Now this is the last candle. This last candle may look like an absolute bearish engulfing, but it is not, because the closing of this candle was 6083.57 and the open of this candle was 6083.13. So that is why there is no absolute engulfing, but yes, there is partial bearish engulfing. Partial bearish engulfing, indicating that there is a pressure on the market, and on Monday we can anticipate an initial or intraday bearish movement. Okay, and one more thing to consider here is that the closing of the candle is below the moving average. Okay, and also below the 604x. So on Monday we can anticipate bearish movement, okay, an initial or intraday bearish movement. Now I know that what you are thinking, you might be thinking that on the weekly chart I have mentioned that on Monday there will be a gap up open or initial or intraday bullish movement, and here I am saying an initial or intraday bearish movement. So I will clear this doubt, but first let me cover the candle of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, and then I will clear this doubt, okay, that how exactly it is going to work. Now comes the last candle of the Dow Jones. This is the Dow Jones. Okay, there is no engulfing at all. No engulfing, no partial, no bearish, nothing. No bearish engulfing, nothing. Okay, but because the candle was heavy, and also the closing is below the moving average, that is why, okay, an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday. Okay, so this is what this candle is signifying, right? Now how exactly this is going to work? Okay, the bearish movement on the daily chart, the bullish movement on the weekly chart. So before I discuss that, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you are looking for these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 every day from Monday through Friday, every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, of the S&P 500, Dow Jones, and in a manner to the entire market, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. So when I say the bullish movement on the weekly chart and the initial bearish movement on the daily chart, okay, this means that even if there comes a gap down open, okay, the market will show some bearishness after open, and then it will recover, then it will go bullish, and in this manner it will fulfill both of these the conditions. Or if there comes a gap up open, okay, it will try to move up, but initially it is expected to fail, and then under pressure it will remain under pressure, then it will come down, okay, and then it will sustain. In this manner, okay, it will fulfill this condition, the condition through the weekly and the daily chart. But if you are my Patreon community member, you need not to worry about this, because in the pre-market update, okay, I will tell you that how exactly it is going to work. Because by the time I will give you the pre-market update, we will already knew that where the S&P 500 exactly is going to open through the futures and the European market, etc. So now let's do the technical analysis. Technical analysis will further confirm whether it will remain bullish or not. Through the Bollinger Bands, bullish, Ichimoku cloud, bullish, moving averages, neutral, but still bullish. Okay. Now MACD. Okay. So you will be surprised to see that on Friday there was heavy fall, but still the bearish crossover did not happen. And also on Tuesday and Wednesday, I have mentioned that if the S&P 500 remains above the zone, okay, or this particular mark, then this bearish crossover in the MACD will not happen, and then there will be a bullish slip, and that bullish slip will trigger more bullish movement, and then we have seen more bullish movement, okay, on Wednesday, Thursday, and even initially in first 15 minutes on Friday also. Okay, so the MACD of the S&P 500 on the daily chart is still bullish. Okay, the stochastic RSI is bearish. Stochastic RSI failed to hold and it is bearish. This means that on the daily chart, the S&P 500 will be seen or considered as 80% bullish. It is also 80% bullish on the weekly chart. Remember that point. Okay, so 80% bullish on the daily and the weekly chart. Now comes the Dow Jones. Dow Jones is also bullish through the Bollinger Bands, bullish through the Ichimoku cloud, bullish through the moving average. Not bullish exactly, it is neutral. Okay, neutral but still bullish, but neutral. Okay. Then comes the stochastic RSI. Stochastic RSI is bearish, but the MACD is again the same thing. MACD is, there is no bearish crossover in the MACD and it is still sustaining bullish. Okay, so Dow Jones is again in the same manner. Okay, it is also 80% bullish. Overall, the S&P 500, Dow Jones are 80% bullish on the daily and the weekly chart. This means that the market is still bullish. Okay, no bearishness as such. This is why in this important update on Friday to my Patreon community members, okay, I have mentioned that because of this sudden bearishness, sudden fall, there is a fear in the market among the retail traders and not the others, the professional traders. Okay, they were not surprised. Okay, the fear was among the retail traders only. And as long as SP500 is trading and sustaining above this heavy resistance, okay, this heavy support, then there is no problem, no fear, no bearishness. So this is how the numbers and the technicals help us to not to fear even if there comes sudden fall or sudden rise in the market. Now guys, here let me tell you that these updates include the pre-market update, which is given before the open of the stock market, 1 or 2 hours before the open of the stock market. Then comes the midday update. Midday update is given after 3 hours. And then comes the final update. Final update is given 1 or 2 hours before the closing of the stock market. And these updates are given every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day. And other than those updates, I also give the stock market opportunities, minimum 5 to 10 every week in the premium stocks of the US stock market. Top 30 or 40 companies of the US stock market, the premium companies, the blue chips. And that's not all, because I also give this the midweek update. Every Wednesday, Thursday, I give this midweek update. This is also the video technical analysis, just like this, the weekly technical analysis. And here I discuss all of the levels, the numbers, and the zones and the movement, what is going to happen exactly on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So guys, if you are also looking for everything, these are daily updates, daily precise updates, not daily but daily precise updates of the S&P 500 every day from Monday through Friday, as well as the midweek update video technical analysis, as well as the stock market opportunities in the premium stocks. then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. And when you follow that link, then you will see that this is my Patreon page and this is my Patreon profile. And here you will notice these two levels or these two tiers. The only difference between these two levels or tiers is the geographical location and nothing else. And when you subscribe to either of these two, then you will be getting all midweek update videos, okay, which is posted every Wednesday, Thursday with detailed analysis, the video analysis, just like this technical analysis, detailed analysis, and the daily SP500 precise analysis, updates, movements, levels, zones, everything, and also the stock market opportunities, minimum 5 to 10 every week. And guys, if you notice, many people have joined my Patreon community for last many days, weeks, months, years, and they are getting these daily precise updates of the S&P 500, Dow Jones, every day from Monday through Friday, as well as the stock market opportunities in the premium stocks and the midweek update, midweek video technical analysis. And they are very well aware of what is happening, what will happen, and they are trading with confidence and comfortably in the market. So guys, if you also want to join my Patreon community, then I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. You can follow that link and you can join my Patreon community, and you are welcome. Now guys, I am going to discuss the third and the last point of the agenda of this S&P 500 weekly technical analysis. And here I will give you the probable movement, means what is going to happen in the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and in a manner to the entire stock market in the next week. Okay. So before that, you need to understand that the earnings season is now over. Okay, all of the giants have already posted the earnings. They have released the earnings. This means that the market will not get any more bullish support through the these earnings. Then comes Tuesday. On Tuesday, the Fed chairman is going to testify, okay, to, I think, to the Senate. And this event, okay, it will trigger heavy volatility in the market, okay. And if by Monday if the market remains bullish, then on Tuesday the market will be in a condition to absorb most of the bearishness, if there comes bearishness through the comments of the Federal Reserve chairman. Okay, although now the market is ready and the market is already aware of the fact that there will not be any more rate cuts, at least in next 1 or 2 meetings like in March or May. Okay, no, market is not anticipating any rate cuts. Okay, but whether there will be a rate cut in the month of June or not, the market will be eagerly looking for this answer. Okay, it will be quite clear on Tuesday in this the testimony of the Fed chairman. Then comes Wednesday. Wednesday, the inflation data will be released, CPI data, CPI, core CPI, and that will further confirm whether the market should remain bullish or if it should give up. That's it. Okay, so Tuesday and Wednesday, and if by Wednesday the S&P 500 managed to sustain above 604x on the closing basis, then most likely or highly likely by Friday the closing will be seen above 6026 and will fulfill the technical condition, okay, wherein a closing above 6026 was anticipated. Okay. So this was in the news and data, and now let's talk about the numbers. Now in terms of the numbers, what you need to understand is that as long as it is trading below 604x, the S&P 500 is trading below 604x, the pressure will be seen on the market. So at the same time, you need to understand that the weekly chart of the S&P 500 is not allowing any heavy fall. This means that even if there comes any fall, that fall is expected to be limited, and then there will be the recovery in the market. So this fall will be limited to what? Okay, again this the same thing. The fall, okay, there comes 596x and 593x. Any fall is expected to be up to these levels, 596x and 593x. So in the previous S&P 500 weekly technical analysis, I mentioned that any fall will be limited to 596x and 593x, and everything will remain okay as long as S&P 500 is sustaining above 593x. Okay, means from up to 593x, if there comes a fall, if the fall is seen up to 593x, then also the market remains recoverable. Okay, the problem will happen only when it loses the 593x and never recovers. So you might want to know, or you might be asking that, okay, last Monday, okay, on this 3rd of February, S&P 500 breached 593x and the low was 5924. Okay, so this will not be considered because it breached and then immediately it recovered. Okay, I'm talking about the closing. I'm talking about what I'm talking about is the closing, whether the closing will be below or above. Okay, if the when I say that if it remains above means on the closing basis, if the closing is seen above 593x, in that case S&P 500 will remain in a recoverable condition that it can recover again and again to 6,000 and 6,100 and even beyond 6,100. But now in the coming week, okay, this zone or the levels are going to expand. Okay, and it is going to expand because see, if you notice, there is a trend line and this trend line will now be considered here. In this case, when this trend line will be considered, especially through the weekly chart, not the daily chart, okay, then comes around 5,900 in the picture, 5900. Okay, this is not my calculated level, but I'm giving you a rough idea that around 5,900 a fall is allowed technically. But because the weekly chart has given us a heavy bullish condition, this means that even if there comes this kind of fall, then also there will be a recovery. There will be a good or a heavy recovery. Okay, this fall is allowed and will not be recoverable only if the S&P 500 remains bullish for first 2-3 days and then it gives up on Thursday and Friday heavily and comes down to this. In that case, it will not be recoverable because in that case, it has already fulfilled the weekly condition, the technical condition through the weekly charts. It has already fulfilled by giving the bullish movements. But yes, one more thing. When it starts to trade below 593x, okay, and remains below 593x and closes below 593x, there comes two consecutive closings, then we should be ready for more bearish movement, more fall, and eventually that will change everything. Now comes the bullish side movement. The bullish side movement, okay, there is a trend line. Okay, the bullish side movement will now be limited. See, the bullish side movement will happen. This is what we know, that there will be a bullish side movement. Yes, there will be a bullish side movement, but this bullish side movement will be limited by the trend line and also my calculated resistance level. That resistance level will be seen in 608x. Okay, so this resistance level, now this resistance level will be very heavy because historically also S&P 500 was seen reluctant to breach and to sustain above this heavy resistance level, and now this resistance level will also get the support of the trend line, means, so that is why this resistance level will be very heavy. This means that even if the S&P 500 breaches 608x and moves to 6,100, then it will feel very uncomfortable and it will come down. It will come back to 608x and will hold around 608x. But the S&P 500 can break this heavy bearish condition, or this means when it moves up, okay, it struggles to clear the 608x, but at the same time, if it gets the support of the Dow Jones and the Dow Jones is seen holding and sustaining above 44,6xx, in that case S&P 500 will get heavy bullish support, and in that case S&P 500 will be in a condition to breach. See, there will be a struggle, for sure there will be a struggle. Okay, and this struggle can trigger an intraday fall, and that will be fine and that will be perfectly acceptable as long as this fall is up to or above 604x, as long as the S&P 500 is holding and sustaining above 604x. means a fall from 608x to 604x is acceptable as long as S&P 500 is holding and sustaining above 604x. Okay, in simple words, the problem will happen only when it loses and closes below 604x. Okay, then so that will be the only problem. Otherwise, as long as it is holding and closing above 604x, it will remain good. Okay, it will be in a good condition to try again and again for 608x, and once it gets the required support through the Dow Jones, then what will happen? Then it will be able to clear the 608x. There will come one closing above 608x, and then that will open the more bullish side movement to 614x zone. This is the expected peak of the S&P 500 for this season. Okay, and last week also I mentioned that again and again S&P 500 tried to move up. It tried and again to move up, but it always failed to move to 614x. So there is a zone which starts from 614x. So if the S&P 500 manages to close above 608x, at the same time Dow Jones has also closed above 446xx, then definitely there will be heavy bullish sentiments, and then the market will be able to move up further. And that more bullish movement will be to what? Will be to or towards this zone. Okay, that starts from 614x. All of this indicates that the movement in the next week is expected to be up to, in the bullish side, it will remain restricted to the zone 614x, which a zone which starts from 614x and the 5900. Okay, and there will be a little possibility of a breach of 5900, but there is immediately then there is a support level, and the S&P 500 will be in a condition to recover. Okay, now what will decide whether it will move to 614x, the zone which starts from 614x to or 5900? It will be decided by 604x. 604x will act as the tiebreaker. Then in between these two, okay, there comes 596x, 593x. Okay, in between these two there comes 608x, 6100, and one more level between 6100 and 614x. And at the same time the 446xx of the Dow Jones, okay, will tell us whether there is or if there will be any bullish movement in the Dow Jones or not. Okay, not just in the Dow Jones, but in the entire market, because if the Dow Jones remains under pressure, okay, in that case S&P 500 will not be able to achieve much, and it will remain below 608x. And even if it breaches 608x, then also there will be an intraday fall. So that is why Dow Jones must recover and must sustain above, must close above, and must trade above 446xx, so that everything can be aligned, bullish, true bullish. Now there is one more thing, very important thing, and it is applicable to both of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, and that is the MACD. MACD is now at the junction wherein it is expected to give a bearish crossover. This bearish crossover will not and will never happen unless if there comes a heavy bullish candle on Monday, right? So if there comes a heavy bullish candle on Monday, in that case this bearish crossover in the MACD will not happen, and this will actually be a good thing or a blessing for the market, for the S&P 500, because if the MACD doesn't give a bearish crossover, rather it forms a slip. Okay, just like what we have seen here, rather it forms a slip. Okay, so in that case what will happen? At the same time the stochastic RSI will also change or will also turn to bullish. Then there will be absolute bullishness in the market. Okay, see, actually we are me and my Patreon community members, okay, we are waiting for a very long time, okay, for the S&P 500 to hit the 614x. This is the zone, okay, which is the expected peak of the season. Okay, the zone which starts from here, and once it enters into the zone, and then based on this the movement, depending on the movement, okay, we will see that how soon it can give up. Okay, there are chances that it can even consolidate okay, in this the zone, consolidate for many days, for a month or 2 months. But anyways, whenever it moves to the zone, okay, then we'll be able to see, okay, when this is going to happen, because we are waiting for this for long. I think from October, yes, from October 2024 we are waiting for the S&P 500 to move up and to test and hit the zone, so that the correction, okay, the correction can come into the picture, but it never did. Okay, however, one more thing, again the same logic, the same concept. If on Monday, if there comes a red candle of any kind, a red candle of any kind, or a very thin bullish candle, in that case, this bearish crossover in the MACD will surely happen. And when the MACD is bearish and the stochastic RSI is bearish, and this is happening, this is seen in both S&P 500 and the Dow Jones on the daily chart. In that case, there will be the bearish momentum, the bearish pressure will increase, and the bullish movement then again, okay, it will be limited, and then there will be more fall. But guys, whatever is going to happen or whatever will happen, I will keep you posted through these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 every day from Monday through Friday. And also I will give you the stock market opportunities in the premium stocks, and also the midweek update video technical analysis if you are my Patreon community member. If you are not, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. Guys, once again, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon, and hit like if you have liked this video, and it will be seen, or it will be considered as an appreciation for my work. And guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask, then you can ask your questions through the comment section. So guys, this is my S&P 500 technical analysis for the week of February 10th. Means from February 10th, which is Monday, through February 14th, that will be Friday.